Hey everyone, welcome back. Hope you guys are having a great Tuesday. In this video, we're going to talk about Hive and their update on their GPUs being converted over to AI purposes. We'll take a look at that. We'll also take a look at Hut 8 providing their September production updates. We'll look at all the numbers in my spreadsheet as well. And we'll also take a look at the miners that I would be buying, right? Yesterday's video, we went over the ones I would not be buying. In this video, we have two tiers, basically tier 1 and then tier 2 miners, which I think would be the best buys and then possibly secondary buys if I had the cash available to do so. Obviously, I don't have the cash to do so, so we'll just take a look at it, and you guys know which miners I have already right now. But as always, you guys know the drill here. This is not financial advice for entertainment only. Please do your own research, and I'm investing in the following coins and companies for full disclosure. And if you enjoy this type of content, hit the like button, subscribe, helps me out tremendously. And then let's take a look at what's going on here with Hive right now. So Hive Digital provides update on GPU infrastructure for AI and HPC, and we'll go over this really quickly. There is some interesting tidbits in this. I'll point those out to you guys. The company is converting its 38,000 NVIDIA data center GPU cards, previously used to mine Ethereum and other cryptocurrencies, into an on-demand GPU cloud service. Hive President CEO Aiden stated, "We're on track to have 3,200 GPUs, mostly powerful NVIDIA A40s, up and running in the AI/HPC space by the end of October." So that's good. That's obviously, I mean, they still have a lot of cards out there, so they still have a long ways to build out completely. Mr. Kylik continued, GPU cloud is far more complex than mining Bitcoin with ASICs. I would agree with that. ASICs, you just plug them in and they're ready to go. With GPUs, you need a whole software stack to provide to the customers, basically. There's a lot of background stuff you need. You basically need servers, hard drives, RAM, everything else that's included in that. So it does take a little bit more time to get things set up, tested, and working. It took us a few months to get to the right hardware architecture in place, and we've had a breakthrough in the last week. This is still Mr. Kylik comment here. Our GPU server utilization rate has gone from 40 to 50% during our test phase to over 80% last week as our commercialization ramps up. So this is good, allowing those GPUs to almost double their daily cash flow per server. So that's really good there. They're able to do that. It's fantastic news, and it's going to be possibly more of a stable business, where you have incoming cash flows every month. It's not going to be dependent on the Bitcoin price, wherever that goes. Network hash rate and Bitcoin miners. This is a good addition to what they're doing with Bitcoin mining, obviously. Okay. And Hive's HPC and AI business is currently generating 15x more revenue than Bitcoin on a per megawatt basis, and demand for GPU compute is growing rapidly. So that's good news there. 15x. I mean, if we look at their revenue on the miners here, we can do that really quick here. Let's do that. Is right here. So Hive, for the most part, their machines are getting anywhere here in at least September. Well, let's just look at September numbers here. So they're getting $5.94 per miner here, roughly. And those numbers here, those were the 100 terahash miners. Let's see, what else do we have here? 98 terahash miners, we're getting about 558 or 582, sorry. The 110 are getting 653. So if they're seeing 15x times that, you're looking at like $75 per server. But in that server, you have basically 6 to 8, maybe even 10 GPUs in there working at that time. So you got to take that into account as well. Okay, it's definitely not as profitable as Ethereum mining was, but it is actually better. Okay, but it's better than what they've had before, not being able to mine Ethereum at all. They're mining some altcoins and things like that. So you got to take that into consideration as well. Okay, and then let's see, I think that's it. You guys can read the rest of it. I'm not going to go into it. But yeah, this is definitely, yeah, see, here's a picture of the server that they have. It's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 of the NVIDIA GPUs in there. And it's just one server. So you figure they have how many GPUs roughly? They got 38,000. So divide that by 10. You're looking at about, what is that, 3,800 servers that they have to build in order to make those converted over to AI and HPC. All right, but that's nonetheless, I think it's good news here that they're able to, one, double their revenue, and also have pretty good multiple as far as compared to Bitcoin mining, which is great. But in the long run, if Bitcoin goes up to 100, 150,000, they're going to be making a heck of a lot more, I think, in Bitcoin mining as it is. All right, so that's it. I just want to point that out to you guys. And let's take a look at Hut 8 here. So Hut 8 provides their production and operation update for September 2023. It looks like they still have not merged with US Bitcoin as of, well, today when they released this. But here's what we do have for the production update. They mined 111 Bitcoins for the month, average rate of 3.7 Bitcoin per day. No Bitcoin were sold during the month. So my guess is they're digging into their cash and possibly diluting a little bit if need be to basically get them to maybe the halving event. I don't know if they're going to be holding everything. They sold a little bit here and there during the past year, but we'll see. Okay, total balance of Bitcoin and reserves was 9,366, and then 7,269 of those were unencumbered, so that's good. And then installed ASIC hash rate capacity at our Alberta facility was 2.6 exahash, which is still the same number that we've had here for pretty much this past year. All right, let me see here. What else we have here? Okay, so this is going into additional highlights. They're talking about the meetings of shareholders, approving the merger, the Supreme Court, and things like that. And here's the details so far. So progress toward completing our transaction with USBTC continues, and we're grateful to our shareholders who demonstrated their overwhelming support by voting in favor of our merger, said Jamie Leverton, CEO of Hut 8. The vote, along with the Supreme Court of British Columbia's approval for our plan of arrangement, continue to advance us toward a new Hut 8, which will have highly diversified fiat revenue streams in high-performance computing, hosting, and managed infrastructure operations, all of which are intended to capture upside and solve the four challenges that single-threaded miners will face going into the next halving. So I'm talking about, obviously, the next halving event. They haven't really grown. Well, they haven't grown in the last year or so as far as their own hash rate is. So the merger with USBTC is basically their growth in hash rate in that. And we'll see how they go forward once they do merge, if they're going to be growing any more than what they already are, or if they're going to concentrate on some of these other things, other revenue streams that they currently have right now. Okay, that'll be interesting to see. But yeah, this is it. Then you can, I think they had something in here as well down below. Let me see here. Where was it? Oh, maybe not. I was wrong. Okay, additional information about the transaction and where to find it. So this is where you can find the information on the merger with them, with USBTC. Okay, so let's take a look at the numbers that I do have for them. And we'll go through this relatively quickly here. So Hut 8 right now has about 221 million shares outstanding. Stock price is at $2. This was as of the end of today. Market cap 443 million, right? They're saying once they merge, they're going to be about 1 billion roughly with USBTC. Their performance for the last 12 weeks hasn't been good. It hasn't been good for a lot of the miners as well. So they're down 44% from 12 weeks ago, down 15% from 8 weeks ago, down 3.3% from 4 weeks ago, and they were up actually last week, 4.1%. So that was good to see as well. Current hash rate is at 2.595. Their future hash rate, they're saying, I'm guessing, is going to be around 7.5 with the merger with USBTC. So we got that included in here for them for the benefit of the doubt here. Bitcoin HODL, that was actually, I need to update that. They reported, what did they report? 9366. So we'll get that updated here, 9366. That's valued at approximately 259 million right now. It's 58% of their market cap right now, okay? Their BTC mined monthly here has been coming down ever since of last year. Last year, they were also mining Ethereum at the, well, through partially through September as well. In October, we saw a little bit of an increase there in Bitcoin production, but after that, it has continued to come down. And they bottomed out, it looks like in August at 103. They're still working to fix some of their, well, not fix their facility, but fix the miners at one of their facilities. They've had issues with those machines, and they're working to get those fixed. Other than that, it has been good for them. So monthly difference, month-over-month difference, basically. Their BTC HODL has also been increasing here, which is nice to see. And you can see here that they sold a little bit this year, starting in February, March, and then May, June, and July. They sold a little bit, but nowhere near to cover their costs, I think. So either they're kind of digging into their cash pile a little bit, or they're diluting shares. Okay, BTC per exahash efficiency has been coming down as well, which is not good to see. Most of the miners here are in their mid-60s to closer to 70 BTC per exahash. So they're definitely way down there. We know why the machines are down. There are other machines that were at another facility that they and the energy provider were going to court and battling over that. So that's the reason why for it. Bitcoin sold, we talked about that. Hash rate, you can see that their hash rate has been pretty stable here for the last, well, almost this full year here, going back to December of last year a little bit. This is when their facility, I can't remember the name of the facility, I think it was Medicine Hat, is the one that was with, what was that, Validus energy provider. They had a dispute there. The machines were shut down, and ever since then they were pretty much flatlined here. Okay, monthly BTC revenue. You can see revenue has been also coming down here. They bottomed out in December of last year. They've gone above it here as of this year because Bitcoin price has been going up, which helped them. But recently it's been coming back down again, so that's obviously not good news. But with the merger with USBTC, I think things will improve for them there. Hash rate difference month over month. And then Bitcoin sold value, as you can see here. I mean, they only sold $3 million in July, which definitely does not cover their costs here. And we'll maybe take a look at their costs here in a second here. Let's see here. Last 4 quarters revenue. Revenue has been coming down as well. It was up a little bit here in Q2, but not much. Overall, it's been coming down. And let me see here. We'll get back into these here. Institutions here stay the same, 184, but shares did increase to 35.8 million, and percentage increase to 16.15. We still have 1 strong buy rating, 0 buy ratings, 2 hold ratings, 0 underperform, 0 sell, and then price targets are $3.48. Average is $2.48, and the low is $2.02. Okay, we'll take a look at the numbers that we have here for the miners that were actually operating for the month of September really quick. And we can see here that in September, they were operating for about 18.94 days, which got us to the 2.919 million in revenue in USD, based on what they mined and the average Bitcoin price in September. All right, so that we got that covered. And then let's take a look at their Q2 numbers here as far as costs are concerned. So revenue, here's revenue. Revenue was 11 million roughly in USD. In Canadian dollars, it was 14.9 million. And then when we look at the expenses here, we can see here depreciation, don't care about that. Cost of revenue was 23 million. Site operations was 14 million. And then when you look at some of the other things that they have in here, selling and general administrative was 12.539 million, right? They were only bringing in, well, they sold only like 3 million something. Definitely not covering their costs here. If their costs here are 12 million, and then if we exclude maybe, let's see here, share-based compensation, so that's share-based. We possibly don't have to include that, but if we include just the one-time transaction fees, I'm not going to include that either. That wasn't too bad there. Well, it was 2.8 million, so that was still pretty bad. Share-based, we're not going to include that. Salaries, we're going to include that. Insurance expense, they need to pay that, obviously. General marketing office, sales taxes, got to pay that. Professional fees, decommissioning costs. Other than that, I mean, they're at 6.7 million right there alone. So definitely does not cover their costs from what they mined here with the only, where was it? There it is, 3 million that they sold, right? So either they're getting into their cash balance sheet, which if we look at their cash here, let's see, your total current assets in Canadian was 403 million, but this also included their Bitcoin hodl. If we look at just their assets, they had, let's see here, 26 million, right? And then they had the digital assets as well. Digital assets pledged as collateral. So if you look at that, they're spending maybe 6 to 8, maybe 10 million a month or per quarter to operate. They're definitely having to, I think, dilute, unfortunately. All right, so that was that. My numbers here for them are as follows. So based on the last 3 quarters of revenue, and then the current quarter that, excuse me, that we just finished in the end of September, we're looking at a combined total of 43.7 million in revenue. 50% net income from that is 21, PE of 10. It's only 99 cents, and if we look at 75% net income, PE of 10 also $1.48. And I haven't met that. I can't speak. I haven't met PE of 10 because their growth hasn't been that great, but they are going to be merging with USBTC. That will help them out. But then after that, is there going to be any growth after that? I don't know. So I got them at PE of 10 still here. And then if we look at the numbers from September as far as what the revenue was, multiply that times the 6 months prior to the halving event, and then the 6 months after at 50%, we're looking at 26 million. But we know that they're going to be merging with the US Bitcoin, so don't go by these numbers because these numbers are going to definitely change once they actually provide us with numbers that are combined companies together. Okay, based on that, I would say that they are undervalued because they are going to be merging. So these numbers are, I would say, not accurate. I wouldn't say that they're accurate for you for Hut 8. They're not accurate for the combined companies together. Okay, so that's where things stand right now. Let me know what you guys think, and yeah, we'll leave it at that. Let me know what you guys think. Okay, next. So yesterday, like I said, we did a video on ones that I'm not mining or buying, right? That included DigiHost, Sphere 3D, Mawson, Argo, Stronghold, and then I pointed out Bit Digital and DMG. We're kind of on the fence there a little bit here. They're a little bit better, I think, than some of the other ones here in red. And then in this video, I wanted to go over some of the companies that I think would be like in tier 1, which would be the green ones. And then tier 2, which would be the tier 2, well, the ones in yellow here. Okay, so let's go over the tier 1 miners first. So Iris, Bitfarms, CleanSpark, Riot, Marathon. When I'm looking in these miners here, and you guys know I own some of these here, at least 2 of them. I own CleanSpark and Bitfarms, and I'm looking to buy Iris as well. If cash was not an issue for me, I would buy also Riot, Marathon in there, added to my portfolio. But cash is an issue, so I'm looking for the ones that are possibly the most upside potential. All right, doesn't mean I'm going to be right on this, but I think the top 5 here will do great no matter what. Some might do better than others, regardless which ones you pick. I think they'll do just fine after the halving event once Bitcoin goes into a bull run on those, right? But a couple of the things I'm looking at with these is, number one, their future hash rate growth. Are they still continuing to grow, which is what we really want to see before the halving event? And then also kind of their balance sheet. Is their balance sheet healthy right now? And for me, it looks like right now it is. So let's take a look at Iris Energy here. Iris Energy right now has, let's see here, where is their current hash rate? So we'll just do this really quick. They're about 5.5. They're saying that they're going to get to 7 right now by the end of the year, possibly. And then they're trying to get to 9 by the time the halving event comes around. And after that, they're going to be growing to another possibly 30 exahash total, right? But we don't know if it's going to happen next year, the following year, or when that's going to happen, but that's kind of their plan. So we know that they're going to have growth here. So that's good there. Next, if we look at their balance sheet here, let me see, where was it? Assets, market cap. Okay, total current assets for Iris Energy was 89 million here at the end of Q2. Total current liabilities was 24 million. So really healthy balance sheet for them. If we look at Bitfarms next, Bitfarms is at 6.1 exahash. They're supposed to get to 7.7, but I think they're trying to get to 9 by the time the halving event happens. And they've been consistently growing as well, so that's another good one here. Let's take a look at their numbers here really quick as well. Their total current assets are at 72 million. Total current liabilities is at 37 million. So definitely a healthy balance sheet as well. They've paid down a lot of debt over the last year, ever since last summer. In 2022, they've paid over, I think it's close to probably 100 million of debt that they've paid off. So that's good to see there. So that's another reason why I'm looking at them as well. And then the next one is CleanSpark here. CleanSpark right now is at, let's see here. CleanSpark is at 9.6 exahash. They're saying they're going to get to 16 exahash by the time the halving event happens. I'm at 17.5, but that doesn't include the miners that they are going to be possibly exchanging out, some of the older miners that they do have for that, right? So that's still a huge growth for them. And if we look at their balance sheet here, this is as of Q2, and here it is. They had 52 million, almost 53, well, 52.6 million roughly in total current assets. Total current liabilities was only 37.4 million. They did state on their Q2 report, or in their press release, that at that time they had, I think, close to, what was it? Don't quote me on this. I think it was around 80, 90 million or something like that they had in cash at that point when they reported the Q2 results. Okay, so that was healthy there. They've also had huge growth here in the last year, and last year as well. They've continued to grow, which is great to see. They're now also doing pretty good on their HODL as well. HODL has been increasing as well. They're kind of right now in the number 4 spot. After Marathon's obviously number 1, then you got Hut 8, number 2 spot, followed by Riot, and then you would have CleanSpark in the number 4 spot. So they've definitely improved there as well, going to the halving event. Next is Riot. Riot right now is at, let's see here, got too many numbers here. They're at 10.7 exahash right now. They're supposed to get to 20 exahash in the next 6, 7, 8 months or so, right around the time the halving event happens. So that's really good growth for them as well. And their balance sheet is really good here. So there's nothing to complain on that one. Their total, let's see here, where is it at? Total current assets right now for Riot is 482 million. Their total current liabilities is only 74 million. All right, really healthy balance sheet. So no question there that they're going to do fine going forward. And then the last one here is Marathon. Marathon right now is at 19.1. They've had huge growth here, excuse me, this past year. Into the end of this year, they're supposed to get to about 24, 25 exahash. They have a facility that's also in Abu Dhabi, I believe. And I can't remember what that country is called, Emirates, where they have a stake in that they're supposed to get 2 exahash of that. And they're saying that they also have secured miners to grow an additional 5 exahash, which would get them closer to 30 exahash on that. But that's not been really reported as far as what they bought, how much they bought of it, and how much they paid for it. So right now it's just secured. We don't know what that means, whether or not they have an agreement in place to buy them. Have they bought them? We just don't know. But they do have still a lot of growth in them. And then their balance sheet is also really good. Obviously, they have the number 1 HODL position here of all the miners. They have, let's see here, where is it at? They currently have 422 million in total current assets. Total current liabilities are 28. Obviously, they've paid down 400 some million of the debt that wasn't due until 2026 here recently. So they still have about 300 some million that they have to pay that off. That's a long-term debt. That's not current debt. And then I think that's going to be obviously fine going forward for them. They'll either dilute shares like they did this time around, or they're going to pay it obviously out of the production that they're going to have after the halving event, with Bitcoin possibly going up into a bull run there. Okay, so those are the top 5 here that I would definitely want to have in my portfolio. I have 2 of those already, like I said. Another one that I'm looking to get into, like I've said before, is Iris, but that also depends on how well they execute on their growth. When they execute on their growth, what the timing is going to be like on their dilution and buying miners. Are they buying in the bull market, which is now favorable? Are they buying in the bear market, more favorable, obviously, in terms, pricing, and everything else? So those types of things I'm looking at. And then the other miners here, we got Core, Bitdeer, Cypher, TeraWolf, Hive, and Hut 8 are kind of like the tier 2. We've seen some growth in them, but not a lot of growth. Core obviously is in there because they've had the Chapter 11 bankruptcy, restructuring part of it. That should be done here in sometime, maybe October, November. We just don't know. They're saying in the 4th quarter. And then the other ones here, Bitdeer, Cypher, TeraWolf, Hive, and Hut 8. Hut 8 is going to be merging with USBTC, so we need to see the numbers for that before I make a decision on whether or not to include them in the tier 1. Hive also has been slow growth, but they've been growing nonetheless. They have a healthy balance sheet. They've always been pretty good as far as efficiency and mining uptime and things like that. TeraWolf has also been growing really well this year. The only concern with TeraWolf here is their balance sheet here. If we look at their balance sheet, you can see here that total current assets was 14.359 million at the end of Q2. So we'll see what those numbers are like for the end of Q3. And the total current liabilities was 81 million. So that's obviously a concern there. That's why they are in tier 2 right now. If it wasn't for that, they probably could be in tier 1, right? Cypher is also pretty much tapped out here as far as growth is concerned. They haven't reported anything else that they're going to be doing to grow further. They're at right now 6.2 roughly. Exahash are going to be growing to 7.3, which is what they have reported as far as being bought right now, roughly. So there's not a lot of growth there for them, but they do, I believe, have a pretty healthy balance sheet as well. It's not as healthy as some of the other ones. It's at 42 million for current assets and 38 million for total current liabilities. So it's still pretty good. It's above the 1 ratio here, so that's good, but it's not as great as some of the other ones here. Bitdeer also has a great balance sheet here at 376 million in total current assets, total current liabilities at 47 million. So no issues there for them. It's just I don't know what they're going to be growing into. Plus, they have different business segments, which are hard to value a little bit here. But right now I have them at 7.2, getting to about 7.6 based on what they have reported as being bought right now. But in total they have like 20 exahash, but the majority of that is for hosting and other services that they offer. Okay, so that's why I have them there right now. And then Core, like I said, Core right now is a huge miner. They've definitely decreased their hash rate in the past year, mainly because they're trying to get out of debt. They're trying to restructure everything else. So they've been selling miners, paying some debt off, I guess. But their hash rate has come down from 17 point something to about 15 right now. They're supposed to get to 15.2. Right now, they did state that they're going to be buying miners from Bitmain with another, I believe it was, don't quote me on this one, but like over 3 exahash, I believe. They're going to be buying from Bitmain. So that will be good for them. And then obviously the Chapter 11 bankruptcy is a big kind of red flag right now. We just don't know how that's going to work out for investors, especially if how much dilution we're going to see on in general for that. And then you can see here that their total current assets was 111 million. Their total current liabilities was 187 million. So they're definitely upside down on that. That's why they kind of are in the shape that they are in. Okay, and tier 2 for that one. All right, let me know what you guys think of this, whether you guys agree with these numbers or with my thoughts on it, or you don't. Love to hear you guys' comments down below. And then let's take a look at quickly what's going on with the network hash rate for Bitcoin here as well, and then Bitcoin itself and the miners in general for today. It was kind of an interesting day today, so I'll point that out to you guys here right now. Okay, so here's the one-day average on the Bitcoin network hash rate right now. It's been going back up here. We did come down. We reached a high of 506 exahash. We came down to approximately a low of 366 exahash. So a lot of miners were plugging miners off, and then they started plugging miners back in. So we're going to see probably more growth here in the coming end of the year and into the halving event, as well as miners are trying to plug in as much as they can before the halving event happens here. But if we look at the 7-day average, we're getting new highs here. So right now on the 7-day average, we are at 435 exahash as it is. Earlier this month here, let me see if we go back to where the month started out at the first. The first we started out at 409, so we're definitely seeing quite a bit of growth here. About 36 exahash being plugged in overall on the Bitcoin network, right? So that obviously hurts the miners here. That's why they need to grow, and they need to grow continually to grow with the network hash rate or above it at least as far as percentage gains go. on it. That's what I keep saying. And a lot of the miners that are in the green have been doing that, but some of the other ones have not. Okay. Now, if we look at Bitcoin here really quick, we can see that Bitcoin today, let's see, it finished out the day. It was down a little bit here, but the miners for the most part were actually up today. So that was kind of surprising. I think it's with the sentiment in the markets right now that Fed is starting to look a little bit more dovish, and there might be a little hope that we've pretty much ended our rate hikes with the Fed, but we'll have to see. Okay, so Bitcoin's down today. It closed at 27,490, and we can see that it's still above the 50-day moving average right now. It's been battling with that along with the 200 weekly moving line, which is the red line here. As far as the miners here, you can see majority of them were actually in the green today, which was nice to see, with at least a couple percentage gains here. Green was up 6%, kind of notably. Soluna was actually up pretty big, 32%, but that one's been up and down, kind of crazy here over the last couple of weeks here. So I think it's just kind of bouncing up a little bit here. And let me get rid of these lines here, daily and the weekly. So we can see that a little bit. We have obviously had a huge pump here, but we've come down, gone up, come down, gone up. I'm probably going to come down here again. So it looks like maybe some bottom picking here from the investors. At least it looks like that way to me. Okay. Other than that, everybody was, for the most part, positive. A couple of ones that were in the red, but nothing major here. Okay. So let me know what you guys think. And as always, the spreadsheets are going to be available to my Patreon members there. Thank you to everyone there for their continued support. That is still, for whatever reason, that people are still able to get the $4 one. So I don't know if it's when I set up the 150 maximum users in that goes into effect, or I thought it was going to be 150 users that were going to be in there overall. But you might be able to get the $4 month fee. If you can do that, go ahead, that'd be great. And then the other fee for it is obviously when that one fills up, it's going to be $5 a month, which is still much better than price of coffee right now. So that's it. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, hit like button, subscribe, helps me out tremendously. We'll see what happens tomorrow. We'll probably do tomorrow the comparison on the miners for the month of September. Which ones came in the top, which ones came in at the bottom. We'll do that. The only one that I'm still missing, I think, is Sphere 3D and Mawson have not provided their numbers yet. I'm not waiting for those guys to provide. They're always late to the party anyways. So we'll do that probably tomorrow. We'll see what else happens in the market. But other than that, I hope you guys have a great night, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.